So if you want to become an e-commerce millionaire in the next 2 to 3 years, this is what you need to do. Now, before I jump into this, I will say that this taken me a long time to figure out. And whilst this doesn't necessarily apply to everybody, it applies to the vast majority of people. So, and I also say that, obviously you need to do the work in order for this to work. So, you can't half-ass this and hope and pray that you're going to get rich and you're going to fluke it because, something magical is going to happen. And one of your 47 side hustles miraculously makes you a millionaire overnight. That's not going to happen. Might have happened back in like 1997 when I was 17 and there was no one on the internet doing what I was doing, and you could literally launch an eComm site and, in a month you're like, well, I'm doing 100 grand a month now. But that stuff doesn't happen as much as it does now because you've got a lot of competitors. The barrier to entry is really easy. And there's unfortunately a lot of people with deeper pockets than you. So, however, in saying that, here's what I would do if I wanted to become, like I said, an e-com millionaire in the next 2 to 3 years. One, you just need to get really, really clear on the type of product that you sell that solves a very specific problem for a very specific kind of person, and the barrier to entry is actually hard to get into that space, right? So for everybody inside of our eComm circle community, there is something that I see amongst the brands that are actually crushing it. And it's the fact that they are not just selling commodity products that anybody can sell. Anyone can go to Alibaba, anyone can go to a drop shipper and go, hey, I want to sell you crap and I want to sell it on my website, and I'll sell it for, like a $5 margin, 5% margin, and make nothing, right? The people in there that are killing it have done the hard work to be able to sell products that are actually hard to sell, right? So I'm going to go deep on this. So, and I'll tell a few stories along the way of why this worked so well for me. So if we think about all of the opportunities that you've got to sell products via your e-com site, you have the dropship model, you have buying from distributors, you have buying from sourcing your own products, making your own stuff, blah, 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 right? But one model that works ridiculously well, that a lot of the really good brands do exceptionally well, is they find suppliers who have absolutely no interest whatsoever in dealing with the public. So what do I mean by that, right? So picture this. You find someone who has warehouses all over Australia and they sell a really cool product that is in demand and but they don't want to deal with retail customers. They're happy to deal with trade customers or other wholesale customers, or they want to deal with the top end of town. What I mean by the top end of town is like, they sell to Telstra, they sell to monster electrical companies, they sell to whatever, straight to the Toyotas of this world and those kind of businesses, right? But what you're looking for is, how can I find those suppliers? And there are rules around the kind of person that you want to be dealing with when you buy from these people. How can I find them, and how can I be the gateway between the retail people and them? So, example, back when I had Warcom, I dealt with a brand called Dratec. I dealt with a brand called Billion, and at peak, I was selling millions of dollars a year of this stuff. Right now, the reason I was able to do that is because, hopefully, as you can see by this video, I'm pretty good at communicating, especially online. Like, I'm a killer in DMs and on forums and so forth, right? So I would sell their product and people would buy the product from me. No one would ever go to those suppliers because they couldn't deal with them, and those suppliers wouldn't want to deal with you, right? So in the case of Dratec was run by an amazing man and his family, and they were Chinese, from what I can remember. But he was very softly spoken. He was very, how would I describe him? So, very technical person. Think computer programmer. Think like incredibly intelligent, deal maker. Moving product around. But he couldn't deal with the customers, right? So I would come along and I'd go, give me $100,000 worth of your modems and I'll put them on my website. People would come to me and go, I can't deal with them, Paul. Like, I know I'm paying you more money, but can I just deal with you? Right. So that person on the other end would be like, oh, that's good. We just send everyone to Paul. Paul talk to all of them. We make money. Paul makes money. Customers make money. Everybody's happy, right? So this, for eComm brands, is an absolute game changer. So, and I see people in our community that are doing this across multiple pickup locations in Australia. So people come to this website, they buy the products that they want to do, and they're like, hey, yeah, we've got that product in this warehouse in this location. We'll send you there to get it, or we'll ship it to you directly because you're close, right? But they never touch it, right? They never see the product, they never look at it, they never have to do anything with it. They're just sitting in the middle, moving money and moving assets around the country, enabling people to go get them, right? So this is an absolute game changer in the e-com space. And this is not what I would call drop shipping. Drop shipping is, in my opinion, it's more of a model where that person drop ships for lots and lots and lots of people, right? So where that doesn't work is because you're dealing with other people selling the same thing from the same people, and it's just a race to the bottom, right? So in this model where it's like you can actually go and pick it up, because most dropshippers won't allow you to pick up stuff, right? But in this model where you can go, hey, go pick up your whatever, you're going to go pick up this massive backyard bloody lawn mowing thing or something or whatever for your backyard, go there, pick it up, and we'll organize it for you, and no one else is doing it. And the reason no one else is doing it, and this is why it's important as well, is because for the people I see crushing it in the space that in our community, they have a bit of experience in that space, right? Selling that thing before they got into eComm, again, selling that thing, right? So I see a lot of people coming into the eComm space and they're just like, I just want to sell things to make money. Like, so, and please take note of what I'm going to say next. What's important is the fact that you go in there and you're like, I sell things that I actually have experience on. Like, I know the product and I know the industry and I know the idiosyncrasies of the suppliers in this industry. So I've started an eComm business so that other people who had similar problem that I do, but potentially now at a retail level, have got that problem solved. And they know that I'm the guy to do that. They're like, okay, this is Paul. Paul has arranged all these suppliers all over Australia, and he just manages the shit. I don't need to deal with it. I go there, I pick it up. Sure, he makes a bit of money. Happy days, right? So this particular model is, I think, going to be one of the biggest models that we see moving forward over the next couple of years. Like I was talking to a friend about it the other day, and I've only been friends with this guy for a little while, but he's a lovely guy. He's got a couple of kids, and he's actually a police officer. So I won't give him a name. Shout out to him on this in case he wants to remain private. But he's like, I'd like to set up a side hustle business, and I hate the term side hustle, but that was my wording. But I want to set up an eComm brand. And he's like, I want to do this because one of our kids have this, and our other kid has this, and so forth. And I'm like, that's a flooded market, mate. And I just kind of reframed how he was thinking about things. And I'm like, what about, you're a police officer. There must be issues that you and other police officers have when you're out on the road dealing with the junkies and the bloody burglars and all that sort of shit and people giving the shits. There must be something that is annoying for you that there is a problem in that you could solve. I'm like, is there something that you need to carry around with you as a police officer? Is there some better way? I mean, you guys probably go all through the day without eating for massive long shifts, and then you've got to sort back and then all this other kind of stuff. Is there like something that you can sell inside the car, put inside the car, that enables everyone to actually be a better police officer? Right. And then in saying that, are there suppliers all over Australia where you can just be like, hey, yeah, I've got an order, go pick it up from here, and happy days. He's like, yeah, that's a much better idea than what we're thinking. The other industry that he's looking at, there's like 400 suppliers, customers, and sorry, not neither of them. There's 400 competitors, and there's 400 new ones arriving every day. right? That's good. There's, as they say, a rising tide floats all boats or something. But for me, it's a bit too much competition. So I said to him, I'm like, what's the problem you had? How can we get, and what is the total addressable market that you could sell those products to? What I mean by that is how many police officers have this problem, right? So is it a market that's going up, and is it a market there's no competition? And are there products that you could just be doing, sending people to locations around Australia to pick up that item to solve that problem? And then here's the kicker. The reason they buy it from you, they're like, here's a copper. I'm a copper, much I would buy from him versus I'd buy from Paul. What does Paul know about being a police officer? Like, Paul's never even been arrested. Well, not that I can remember. I've had a few interesting party nights when I was younger, but I don't think I've ever been arrested. So, you know what I mean? So people are like, yeah, that guy, I buy from him. I go pick it up. I'm happy to pay him whatever I want, and happy days. And this guy, why this business model is great for him is because doesn't need to hold a lot of stock. Doesn't need to go buy a warehouse. Doesn't need to do inventory management and all this other shit. He's just like, his supplier, again, ideally, their supplier doesn't want to deal with the customers directly. He's like, I'll sort it out. And then those people are always very clever when it comes to having enough stock on hand, because a lot of them have a lot of money. They have deep pockets. They're into some interesting businesses, usually. But they solve that problem, right? So you have the perfect business model. So I hope some of this is making sense. As you can see, all these videos I'm going to do, they're not scripted, they're not planned, they're not anything. That's like me getting in the flow, think about things like this, So, on that note, hope you guys got some good value out of this. If you want some help with it, you know where we are. But again, if you're in eComm, think about how you can add this to your business. If you're not in eComm, think about how you can make this your eComm business. Again, this is not just a shitty drop shipping model. Like, it's completely different to that. I almost call this the drop pickup model, right? Or just the pickup model, So, on that note, I'll leave it with you. Keep being amazing and keep an eye out for the next video. Bye for now.